Right, welcome in, Nathan. Really appreciate you joining us here today for this interview, and just wanted to get started, kind of asking about your beginnings in the sport. Just how were you introduced to football initially? When did you really first start playing it, and what is it that really kind of attracted you to the sport, especially early on in your career?
Yeah, so growing up as a kid, I always kind of gravitated towards sports. Balls were our main source of toys as children, and so yeah, that was just kind of innate in us. But I really started to gravitate towards football over some of the other sports that we may have been introduced to because I got really interested in a particular highlight reel video of Brett Favre. And the 1996 Green Bay Packers when they won the Super Bowl had kind of like a season recap. I kind of watched that on repeat for a couple of years, and that made me want to really pursue the sport and got involved, organized football at 5 years old, started flag football, and then at 7 started playing tackle football. And yeah, I was really taken by Brett Favre, and he's kind of been my favorite player. Yeah, obviously the leader of the Green Bay Packers, but I also played quarterback, and that's my favorite position. That's why I love football. I think it's unique in the fact that I think it takes there's such a good balance between the physical and the mental aspect of it. It's kind of like playing chess, but you also could get hit, right? And I think that the quarterback epitomizes that. Yeah, all the stuff that you have to do to get into it. And so I think the combination is amazing. And obviously Brett Favre did it at a very high level, and it was fun to watch. And as soon as I was old enough to try it myself. Parents gave me the green light, so thankful that I did.
Awesome. Yeah, great stuff there. As a Packer fan, certainly happy you're influenced by Brett Favre.
Right,
That's
right.
awesome. A lot of people around here certainly were too. And you kind of answered, next question I had here for you, Nathan, was just talking a little bit about your youth football career. And, I had mentioned to you before, I talked to your younger brother, Curtis, about a week or so ago, and he talked about a lot of the success, a lot of the guys that you guys played with, kind of growing up. And if you could just tell me a little more about that. And maybe if there was kind of a moment, whether it was prior to high school, maybe even in high school, where you realized you had a pretty special talent in the sport.
Yeah, well, we got involved in our local football association or youth football, the BMFA, so the Burlington Minor Football Association. We grew up in Oakville, Ontario, and Burlington was the had the most successful program, yeah, closest to us, so just a couple about 15, 20 minutes away. And so we started, my brother and I started playing that as early as we could, and we got really involved in the rep program, so they would travel around the province in Ontario and be playing all the teams there, and we were very, very good. We hardly lost a game at that point. We just had a lot of future CIS players, and they had done a really good job building up the program. And so yeah, that was a lot of our falls and then summers and of just traveling, and that was kind of our deal as a family. And so yeah, I mean, when I don't know if there was a particular moment, but I just know that over the time, with all the talent that we had on those teams, and all the people that I really grew up with, all of them, as we would, the coaching staff would travel with us as we got older and older, and with that community and whatnot, we started to attract attention just because of how prevalent the organization was. And I actually had the opportunity one of the years to play in the division above me in terms of age. So I was 2 or 3 years younger than everybody, and I ended up playing above at that point, just trying to get kind of a little bit of a challenge, because when you win all the time, you kind of want to reach for something a little bit higher. And so I got an opportunity to do that, and had some success there as well. So at that point, it was more about recruiting, but having success, maybe that was one of the moments where I look back. I think that maybe the dream of continuing to play at the next level was becoming more real at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of good lead in into the next question. And you had, somewhat of a unique high school football career. And just wanted to ask you a little more about that as well. First off, your time at Holy Trinity in Oakville, and then, your decision to go down and play at Edgewood Academy in Alabama too. Just how beneficial, was that experience, and specifically going down to Alabama to play? And did it help you get kind of more college looks down the road at all?
Yeah, so the goal heading into high school was to get recruited and go to Division I school. My goal since I was a child was always to play in the NFL. It still is, and we figured that you're playing at the Division I level in the NCAA was probably the easiest way to get there. And so in high school, at Holy Trinity, started to try to get recruited, try to get college coaches' attention, as many kids are at that age. And had a successful year my junior year at Holy Trinity. We won as much as we could. We were the number 2 ranked team in the country at the time, and won our district and the region and won a bowl game. And kind of at that point felt like maybe there was something else that we could do to begin recruiting, because I really at that point it wasn't happening. It didn't really seem to mean much to coaches down south, everything that we had accomplished. And so there was an opportunity that was presented to us to play at a school in Alabama, and kind of jumped at it, figuring that we would be at the heart of football and high school football, and get a chance to play in front of in college coaches' backyards rather than across the border from them. So took that opportunity to do that, and that was quite the experience. A lot of very, very different culture in terms of how they view sports in Canada. And so that was very interesting, and certainly an adjustment period for my family. Unfortunately, it didn't lead to any offers. Definitely had some exposure, had some close calls, but it was just too late in the recruiting process. A lot of times teams, or I guess schools, are looking to recruit their quarterback. They want to get to know them, want to see them develop and progress. And at Ohio, we always offered our guys our commits for the next couple of years, either their sophomore or junior year of high school. We never had a guy that would come in their senior year, right? So didn't end up. It was too late in the recruiting process, and everything kind of fell through. But I ended up going to junior college and for a semester, and ended up getting to Ohio from there. So worked out fine.
Yeah, sure did. And, that was, again, a good lead into my next question, was just going into your college career, and again, just discussing kind of what those options were coming out of high school, and just talk a little bit about your time at Fort Scott Community College. Just what was that season like for you? And after you did play that season, just kind of what options were on the table for you at that point, and when did Ohio really become the possibility and reality for you?
Yeah, Cody. So, I mean, National Signing Day came and went my senior year of high school. And we kind of at that point were like, we don't really know what the next step is. Kind of figured that we would get an offer at that point. And so it was super disappointing. But at that point, we started considering junior colleges and started getting recruited in that way. And the struggle there was that junior colleges tend to bring in a lot of players. And it can be very hard to stick out, or to make an impression on teams and during camp and get some playing time. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, the reason we went down to Alabama was to get good film. The reason that you go to junior college is to get film, so you can show college coaches that you're deserving of a scholarship, right? So without getting on the field, you can't really do that. And so we were fortunate enough to attract the attention of Fort Scott, to meet my family and to recruit me, and that made a big impression on us. So when we ended up going and visiting, I ended up signing my letter of intent there, and had felt confident that they were going to give me an opportunity to show that I deserved to be the starter there. And yeah, it was quite the experience. I don't know if you or any of the people watching have seen Last Chance U, but it was very, very similar to that experience. A lot of people that they brought in to fill very few spots, and it was very physically and mentally demanding. All of the glitz and the glamour of a Division I school were were not present. It was really just football and school. And there was a lot of talented players that I played with there that never got out for one reason or another. There are a lot of people with chips on their shoulder, and a lot of reasons to want to get out and go to a bigger school, but never, for one reason or another, they would, whether it was, drugs or academics or just, a family life, that they couldn't get a handle of. They didn't end up making it the transition to a 4-year school. So it was very interesting. And then, the whole of everyone trying to get good film and good good, go out for themselves and try to elevate their own status. It's hard to, have a good team culture and be a team oriented attitude when everyone's trying to get, put themselves first and try to get out of the team. Like, no one really wants to be there. It's an interesting dynamic, and it was very, very difficult. But for me, what I took away from that, and I know this is a long-winded answer, but what I took away from the junior college experience was that I really do love football, and all the other stuff, the recognition and the playing in front of big crowds and all that stuff that comes with playing organized sports and hopefully playing at a high level wasn't there. And I still wanted to do it, and I still wanted to play, and I still had a love for it. And when I ended up going to a Division I school and ended up playing professionally, and those things are a little bit more are prevalent. I still have a mentality like I'm trying to prove myself, and that's been my entire football journey.
Awesome. Really cool stuff there. Great insight on that one, Nathan. And yeah, just want to move ahead and move forward then into another part of that journey, which obviously was at Ohio University. And just when you first got there, kind of what were your goals or expectations? And obviously over your 3 years or so there, just talk about the success you guys had. You had individually, you guys had team-wise, just what kind of mark do you hope, you guys left on that program?
Yeah, when I got there initially, I obviously the goal was to be the starter. You don't ever want to be in a situation, in my opinion, where you're anything else. And so that's always been the goal, no matter where I've been at. And when I was there, they had a player there that had played the year before as a freshman, and he was moving into his redshirt sophomore year. And with being his 3rd year in the program. And so it really was his job to lose. He ended up winning it, but I had to compete with him to get it. And it was close enough to the point where during the second game against Purdue, I was able to go in and have some success, and they had the confidence to start me in the next game. So it was a great run. It's a great school. It was a great fit for my skill set, and we had some very, very good teams. And we did a lot of things that I'm very proud of. We went to 3 consecutive bowl games and won all of them. I thought every single, it's frustrating at the same time because I thought every single year we were the best team in the MAC, but we weren't able to come out with a MAC championship. And but we had some very, very talented teams, and I really felt that every single year I was getting better as a player and better as a quarterback, and you can't really ask much more from that standpoint. They really helped me develop and gain the experience that I needed to make the goal of playing professional a reality. So from an individual standpoint, I thought that it was very meaningful, but obviously from a team standpoint, the relationships that you build at the college level are so they're so valuable. They're hard to put in words how meaningful they can be, and obviously you learn a lot and about yourself as a player and as a man, and things that you will always look back on favorably in whatever stage of life you're in.
Absolutely. Excellent. More great stuff there. And one thing I wanted to kind of touch on from your college career too, Nathan, I know you won two John Cornish trophies as the top Canadian player in the NCAA back to back in 2017 and 2018. Just how much did those mean to you? And how proud are you, even now as a professional football player as well, to be able to represent Oakville and Ontario as a whole?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty cool award. Obviously 2017 for those who don't know, maybe not obviously, but for 2017, it was the first time that they had done it, and so and it's come a little bit. It's come a long ways since then. So I've it's been cool to kind of see that grow a little bit. But yeah, so I think that the crop in Canada, the amount of Canadians that are coming out of Canada and getting scholarships and opportunities that I wasn't able to get. I had to get onto the States to earn a scholarship, but some of the kids that are getting opportunities, college coaches are now going across the border to recruit, which is awesome. I'm really happy and proud of that. Curtis is an example of that. He didn't have to go down to the States for school. He was able to earn it and attract the attention of schools just by playing in Canada. So that's really cool. But I feel like the crop of kids that are coming into the NCAA every year that are from Canada are just getting better and better, and there seems to be more and more, and they seem to be getting into bigger programs every single year, and that's really cool. And it seems like we're really making a stamp on the NCAA, and that ultimately leads into the NFL. You see people like Chuba Hubbard and Neville Gallimore, and who are all close to my class, and I never really played against them, but was following their careers, and to be mentioned in the same category as those guys who have done so well at the professional level, and they had amazing collegiate careers, and what is truly an honor. And I'm very proud to be a part of that group that has expanded what Canadians high school students can do at the next level. They can go down to the United States and play sports and get and earn Division I. And something that when I was going to school when I was entering high school, that was something that didn't happen very often. And so I'm proud to do that and to represent Canada in a big way.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the NFL there, and you mentioned it, earlier in this interview too, that's still, kind of your ultimate goal or dream. And coming out of college, I know you were on the NFL radar a little bit. Just talk about kind of going undrafted, not receiving a ton of interest, but then as we got into last year, I believe it was last spring or last summer, you were invited to the New York Giants mini camp, and just what was that experience like for you? And again, is your ultimate goal to still reach the NFL someday, and just what do you think it's going to take to get to that point?
Yeah. Well, yeah. First off, the NFL experiences was very frustrating. It was very difficult. Obviously, you feel like at the time that you've put in all the work that you can, and you hope that someone just gives you a chance. And it's frustrating even now, knowing, feeling like I haven't gotten that yet. I think that as a kid that didn't get any scholarship offers out of high school and had to go the junior college route, and until to get a Division I offer, I still feel like that same kid at this point, in a different way. I have yet to be given an opportunity to show people that I can play quarterback at the professional level. In terms of the NFL, I'm very proud to be in an organization that has given me that opportunity with the BC Lions here, that's truly an honor. But yeah, I went down to I thought I finally had an opportunity in 2021, and to go down to the Giants and to throw the ball around in front of them and stuff. And that just didn't happen. They saw what I did in college and didn't see any of it translating to the NFL. They saw my athleticism instead, and thought that would be better suited to play a position that I've never played before. And that's just the decision that was made by someone, who's not really in that position anymore. So that's how I see it. And, and it's kind of that. In as much as I like to dwell on it and think about it and to get me excited and get me motivated and stuff like that, it's not really anything I can control anymore. So I have an unbelievable opportunity here with the BC Lions, and I'm going to make the most of it. If something happens down the line with the NFL, then that'll be something that we'll think about at that point. But it will always be in the back of my mind, the fact that I haven't been given an opportunity down there, but I hope it happens at some point. Ohio didn't give me an offer out of high school, but they made it right at the end. So it all works itself out at the end.
Absolutely. It definitely does. And, again, great stuff there, Nathan. And next couple questions I got for you is talking about, your time now in the CFL and your time with the BC Lions. And just starting out with that, obviously you were a fairly, highly touted prospect for the CFL coming out of college. And just, what was it like at the moment being drafted by the BC Lions? Just how's your time with this organization that, has given you this chance been so far?
Yeah, it's been great. I've been very fortunate to be in a very good situation with a head coach coming in for his first year last year, who really is the epitome of a great professional coach. He's very well liked in the locker room. He made an impact right away with his coaching style and the way he cares about the players, and obviously has given me an opportunity as well as many other players to make a mark on the team and to contribute, which I'm very grateful for. His confidence in me has been very important to my development as a player, but also the front office and the ownership. I feel like they have a very good grip on the direction that this organization is going, and they're passionate about it, which I think is key. And it's contagious in the building. You can tell that the guys are feeding off of it, the players are feeding off of it, and we're looking forward to turning this thing around a little bit. And in terms of draft day, it was just kind of the feeling that I felt was relief, because a couple of days earlier was the NFL draft, and I thought that there might be a chance that I wouldn't have the opportunity to play anymore, and I wasn't really ready to hang it up yet. So for them to take a chance on a Canadian kid, and Canadians really hadn't had too many opportunities in the CFL, which is ironic, and at the quarterback position at least, and for them to take a chance on me was amazing. And obviously the draft experience is pretty cool no matter where you get picked, and it was just a very special moment to share with my family.
Absolutely. And just talking about with your time with the Lions thus far, obviously, the 2020 season canceled due to COVID, but, last season, you actually had the chance to start the first game of the year, and then, also started, I believe, the last game of the year. Really made a vast improvement by that last game of the year. I know you're named the CFL top performer of the week. So if you can just talk about that season, really kind of getting your first game action and just really the development you made throughout the season, and also how much confidence that final performance gave you.
Yeah, it was. I think the season in its fullest was exactly like you said. I think I showed a lot of improvement. I got very fortunate, not just personally from a personal standpoint, that the starter and the starter was Mike Riley, and he I was able to watch him and observe him, and because he's a guy who's played in the CFL for a long time and had a lot of success. He's a most outstanding player. He's won a Grey Cup. He started in the league for a very long time. So I was able to watch him and see how his process works and what it takes to be a professional and to be successful at it. So that was amazing. But he also was dealing with some injuries, so I got to take some reps with the ones, and that was valuable experience that I wouldn't have gotten if something, if he hadn't gotten injured and he hadn't, had to take some time off. So I got really fortunate in that way. And, going against a CFL defense every single day in practice that's pretty valuable experience for a young kid coming in. So I definitely felt like I got more comfortable with the offense and the timing and the rhythm of things, and just kind of getting a little more patient as the season progressed. And I really felt I was very, very grateful that the organization gave me a chance to start the last game and kind of show them how I've improved, and what the future might be like. Yeah, I'm just I'm excited. Hopefully we can win some more games like we did the last one.
Absolutely. And this season now, Nathan, you are going to be the starter here at the BC Lions. And just kind of talking more about that quarterback room. You just talked about Michael Riley, obviously a veteran guy, and he retired, this offseason now. And just kind of what was the moment like when you were named and anointed the starter after that? And then something you also touched on earlier, too, is about how there haven't necessarily been a lot of Canadian quarterbacks in the Canadian Football League. But the Lions recently signed Michael O'Connor, a guy pretty well. Just how excited are you to get to play with him, have two Canadian quarterbacks on the team? Again, something that really hasn't been seen much before.
Yeah, I'm very excited to work with Michael O'Connor, that is, and we've been friends. We've known each other for just over a year, and been working with the same quarterback trainer, Rob Williams, in North Vancouver, and kind of gotten to know each other through that. And so I got an inside kind of look about his free agency, Mike's free agency process. And when I heard that BC was one of the places he might land, I was pretty excited about that. I think the chemistry within the quarterback room is really important. You kind of have to be on the same page and be able to be supportive of each other, but at the same time compete and push each other and stuff like that. And I definitely already have that relationship with Mike when we work together with Rob. And so I was really excited about that. In terms of, hearing about Michael Riley, his decision, really had no indication going into the new year what was going to happen, but kind of just put my head down and kept working like I was going to be the starter, which is the way that I've always prepared. I found out just a couple hours early before the Lions made an announcement, and I was pretty excited. I was pretty pumped up. It's pretty cool to get that kind of vote of confidence from the organization after so little experience, but obviously the things that I've been doing off the field and the way that I've prepped throughout the week and practiced, and obviously that's made an impression. And I hope that they'll continue to put that kind of trust and give me opportunities to show that I can lead this team and that they made the right decision.
Absolutely, no doubt about that. And just kind of last Lions related question I got here for you, Nathan, and you've kind of touched on it, a little bit already, but just ultimately, what are your goals for the upcoming season here, and just what do you think this team is going to be capable of accomplishing?
Yeah, I think that we've made some really big moves in terms of free agency, and we've brought in a lot out of our core guys back from last year, and we have some valuable additions. And so I really feel like that the time for us to win is sooner rather than later. And that's kind of the buzz around the facilities as well, is that we're primed and ready to go. And that's really exciting too, because I get to contribute to that and be a part of that. And I really can't wait. In terms of the goals, I think we would be selling ourselves short if we didn't say that we were looking for a Grey Cup. We haven't won one in BC since 2011. That's a little bit too long for our liking. So I think that this organization and the fans of the BC Lions deserve one. And this is a very, very difficult league to win in. But I think we're going to be a very, very good team. From a personal standpoint, I think that, like I mentioned, like last year, I saw, considerable improvement from week one to the last week. And I'd like to see that again. I want to get better. I want to be able to improve every single week, get more comfortable with the offense, more and more comfortable as a quarterback, and handling pressure and getting the ball out of my hands and making good decisions. We have so many playmakers out in the field on offense, and it's going to be my job to get them to the ball as soon as possible, keep defenses off balance. And the better I can do that, the more efficient I am. The less I can turn over the ball, the more successful we'll be as a team. And so I hope that, from the first week or the first preseason game, and hopefully to the Grey Cup in Saskatchewan at the end of the year. I hope that there is a very considerable improvement in my game as a quarterback and considerable development from my end.
Absolutely. I think, bright things certainly on the horizon for yourself and for the Lions, of course. And just want to wrap up the interview here, Nathan, by asking you a couple questions about your younger brother, Curtis. You've referenced him a couple times here throughout the interview. As I mentioned, I got to talk to him a couple weeks ago and certainly enjoyed doing that. And, just what has it been like for you? It's kind of watch him, following your footsteps now, particularly as a college football quarterback at Ohio. And just over the years, how much have you kind of relished and been able to serve as a mentor for him?
Yeah, Cody, I think that it's been really special to have a relationship that I have with Curtis. I get to know other people, and they're not as quite as close with their siblings as we are, and that's been really, really cool. And to have him, his passion be my passion, and be able to talk about the way that we're preparing each week and how we're, trying to get better and the little things that we can do. Like it's really cool to be able to talk ball with someone like your brother. And so, yeah, he's been really fun to watch, and hopefully he gets the opportunity to show what kind of player he can be at Ohio. And like I was given, like the same opportunity that I was given, and it'll be fun to watch him develop. I think that he's taken a different route than I have. I was only there 3.5 years, and it seems like he'll be there a little bit longer. And so that just means more time for him to develop as a player and as a quarterback, and as a leader. And I certainly feel like in that aspect, his ceiling will be higher. And there's if given the right situations, given the right circumstances, I'm sure they'll have a little bit more success than we were able to have. And that's exciting for me. And I'm looking forward to watching him this year and continuing to improve as a player.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And last question I got here for you, Nathan, and I asked Curtis really a pretty similar question, but just how proud are you of seeing what he is doing at Ohio, and what do you think he can accomplish there through his final couple seasons? And then just after that, how cool would it be, or to just see him get to the pro level as you are, and maybe compete, whether it's alongside him or even against him someday?
Yeah, I think that the sky's the limit for him. I think he can do whatever. Barring something like an injury or a season-ending thing, which I hope doesn't happen. I think that he's a guy that would get an opportunity that I didn't get. I think he's the ideal height and size, and he's got a big arm. Always has had a natural arm, and he'll get the opportunities. He fits the prototypical size, and I'm really, really proud of that. I'm proud of the fact that he's had to come through some adversity to get to the point where he's at. He's the year in Alabama that I spent, I like that you guys mentioned the fact that he didn't get to play. He rode the bench, and that was a very big sacrifice of his to really support me and my goals. But he kind of put his own goals out on hold there for a year, and that kind of shows you what kind of person he is. And then he went back to Holy Trinity and he tore it up. And so, to see him have that kind of success was rewarding for me. And then my senior year, he was the other quarterback in the room, and that was a very special. We would love to have a little bit more success, but to just that was an opportunity that not too many people have, because you do spend so much time with the guys that are in the quarterback room, and when you get along already, and he's your brother, that's pretty cool. And so even now, talking about certain things that we could be doing or that the coaches are doing, and just kind of have that relationship to talk is really cool. And yeah, like I said, I think that he should get every opportunity in the world to play at the professional level, and we'll see down the road. I would love to have some type of Manning type rivalry with him and be able to play against each other, and And but yeah, hopefully that happens, and hopefully everything works out the way that we're hoping it does.